Well, good morning to Hpone Thant, who has already done an interview for our podcast. But Harry has many interests, and I found that he posts a lot to a Facebook group site called Old Burma. So those of you who are interested in
Old Burma hand.
Old Burma
Old
Hands.
Burma hand.
Yeah. So those of you who are interested in finding that site, you might see some very interesting things there. This morning, Harry's going to talk to us about what it was like to own a car in Myanmar in the 60s and 70s. Over to you, Harry, to start.
Okay, thank you everybody who's listening to this podcast. Actually, the page name is Old Burma Hand, and it's been set up by one of my German friends, Mr. Axel Bruns. So anyhow, as Peter said, I will be talking to you today about how the car owners during the socialist period had to struggle. First of all, before buying a car, you need to check where your designated petrol station is. Because here, people will wonder, why do you need to check that? Because in our country, people tend to run away from the taxman. They try to avoid taxes. So if you go and change your registration into your own name, you have to pay taxes. So normally during those times, people do not change the owner's name in the registration. But every year, when a new registration is due, they pay the old owners some money so that he writes down what you call a power of attorney. He signs his power of attorney and says that Mr. Hpone Thant is empowered to act on my behalf to renew the registration, blah, blah, blah. See, that's why you first need to check where your designated petrol station is. So people might wonder, why do you need to check that? Okay, so to continue, while you bought a car, you have agreement from the old owners that he will still retain the name, he will still retain the name on the new, in the registration, and will consent to give me the power of attorney whenever I go to renew the annual registration. But if you want to change the registration into your own name, what you need to do is you have to go to the RTA, change the ownership title, and then go to the Petroleum Products Sales Corporation. That is, they are in charge of all these distribution of petrol and all the engine oil, everything. And you go to this, we call it PPSC, and get a new petrol ration book. And with this new petrol ration book, you go to the nearest petrol station and then get it registered there. Otherwise, you won't get your quota of petrol.
So, Harry,
Yes.
was there any point in changing the registration into your own name, or did most people just leave it in the name of the original owner?
Well, there's no big difference, just a legal point of view. Because if some accident happens, you have to go back to the original owner, get his consent to sign this, sign that, and the compensation goes into his bank account. The new owner won't get anything. So, but anyhow, many prefer not to change the title. They just leave it like that. Because the insurance you get from any accident is just so little, just around about 1,000, 2,000, just not even 1% of the total what you call repair cost. So we just leave it like that. But sometimes I do change the title into my own name. As I said, you change your name, go to this head office of the Petroleum Product Sales Office, Sales Corporation, and then to the petrol station, get your name on this ledger to get your quota. So I get 2 gallons a day, but at one filling, you can get 3 days quota, that is 6 gallons. 6 gallons per filling, every 3 days. So on the filling up day, what I had to do was that I had to get up early, around about 2 a.m. in the morning, go to this petrol station and put my car in a queue. But there are already many cars in front of me. Because some owners, they will leave their car in the queue after the pumps had closed at 6 p.m. in the evening, and hire some person, a guardsman, to look after the cars and go back home. And before 6 a.m. in the morning, before the pump opens, they'll come back. So what I usually do is, I will get up at around about 2 o'clock, take my car and go line up in the queue. I had to take along the blankets, mosquito net, pillows, and snooze in the car.
Are you talking
And
about
then
this
slowly,
are there hundreds of people waiting at each petrol station, or is it like...
Yeah. The petrol station opens at 6 in the morning until 6 in the evening. So it's busy the whole day. When the petrol pumps open, the car slowly inch forward. My place in the queue usually is about 40 or 50 cars back.
Goodness
Normally.
gracious.
Yeah, 40 or 50 cars back. It takes about 1 to 1.5 hours to get to the pump. Slowly. But we have to pray that the pump will not break down before my turn comes up. Otherwise, your quota for that day is gone forever.
Oh.
There's no compensation. Compensation. They won't give you another 2 gallons for that lost day.
So if you don't get your allowance on the day that you're entitled to it, that's it?
That's it. You get 60 gallons per month. So whether the pump breaks down or not, it's 60 gallons. Okay. So if I get to the pump by around 7:30, I'll be in time to go to the office. Otherwise, I'll be late. And then for this brake fluids or engine oil, they announce on the blackboard in front of the petrol stations that on such and such day, please come and put your booklets, these ration books, in a pile. So you go and put your book in the pile. And you have to listen for it attentively. Many people there in front, milling around. You hear your name call, you go and pay and get this recorded in your book. If you miss your call, the book goes back to the bottom.
And was there corruption to pay to get your book at the top of the pile?
Well, there is no corruption, but it's such a hassle,
Right.
You don't know when you will be called. You can't go anywhere. You can't go to the toilet. You can't go to the tea shop. You have to listen attentively. You listen attentively for your name to be called. The same with the brake fluids. So what happened was that there appeared like mushrooms a lot of these friendly neighborhood sellers that sell this brake fluids and engine oil. You want and petrol also, petrol also. You can get there any amount, either in small bottles or in drums.
Wow.
Yeah, in drums. So that's the brake fluid and the engine oil. For tires and batteries, you can buy a new set of tire. New set, I mean only 2 tires, not 4, only 2. Every two years. And you have to go to this sales center. It used to be before nationalization in 1962, it used to be a privately owned car showroom. Anyhow, it was transformed into a sales center under this trade corporation number 12, I think, machinery and vehicles. So you go to this sales center and buy an application. You don't get it free, you have to buy it. You have to buy. I think around about 10 or 20, just not much. Anyhow, you have to buy it. Fill it up and give it to the tire repairer who has set up shop in the beside in the house beside this sales center. Unless you give your application to this tire repairer, he's a private person. The manager at the sales center would not approve your application. And you have to go to this tire repairer, this puncture repairer, who repairs your puncture tires. Some money for him also, to put your application to the manager for approval. Unless your application comes to this tire repairer, this puncture repairer, the manager would not consider your application. The same with batteries. At that time, we used what you call, I don't know what it is called, but you know where you put in this acid and distilled water?
Correct.
We call it a wet type. Not the dry type like we use today. So there was also one very popular battery repair shop. You can change your old batteries, your rundown batteries, with a new one for a small nominal surcharge. And then if your batteries run down and cannot start your car, you just go to your neighborhood battery repair shop and they will come with a spare battery and jump start your car.
But not replace it. But not replace it.
It's gets the thing going. And then if there's leakage between the petrol gas pipe and the carburetor, what you do is you take a piece of soap and put it around this the joint. The soap will harden and the leak is stopped.
Ingenious.
Ingenuity.
Yeah.
And then if there's a leak in your radiator, you just grab a handful of this, what you call, turmeric powder, throw it in the radiator, and the leak will be plugged.
I wonder who finds out these
temporary,
solutions.
Temporary, of course. A temporary measure. Temporary measure. You see? In our workshops, the mechanics at our workshop, we don't have any kind of, what do you call, trained mechanics. I mean, they are trained mechanics, but most are untrained. They just learned by practical,
Sure.
what you call, experience, practical experience from their mentors or the owner of the chief mechanic.
Harry, I think you.
So if you,
Harry, I think you also are going to mention that you didn't actually need your 6 gallons a week, right?
yeah, I don't normally use up my 6 gallons, my quota, because my only commute was from the office to the office and some family time during the weekends. So I will siphon off the excess before I go to the pump for my new quota. Siphon off the excess and sell it to the roadside gas sellers. What I do is I put a flexible plastic hose down to the gas tank and then siphon off. Well, you siphon off means you have to suck it with your mouth.
Yeah.
It needs experience. Sometimes you will swallow a mouthful and it's antiseptic. It kills the germs in your stomach. And I sell this to the neighborhood gas seller and get extra money to supplement my salary. So regarding the new set of tires, if your tires are run down, you go to these tire dealers at Sanjiao Township. A lot of tire dealers, they deal in old and reused or recycled tires. You go to them and try to find some better quality, like some 25% of the old tread left. No?
Not much.
Well, it's better than your old tires where there's no tread at all. Or if you're lucky, you get a completely brand new tires, because the government vehicles, they get issued, I think, new tires every 2 or 3 years. So what the drivers will do is they will come and change their new government-issued tires with the older ones from the dealers. So if you are lucky, you find these completely brand new tires, but it costs a little bit more, of course.
In fact, Harry, that's one thing I'd be interested to know. Were cars very expensive to buy?
Well, when I first got my driving license, it was in 1963. I had a Austin A40 Devon. It cost 7,000 cents.
Which was how much roughly in dollars?
That died $7,000. Later, I sold it and bought a Hpone, I think around 1970 or 1971. After I came back from Russia, I bought it for 10,000 cents. Then slowly, the car prices went up. And then I changed it for a master estate wagon. A master estate wagon produced in Myanmar,
Wow.
by the heavy industries factories. and it cost around about 30,000.
Right, because it was 6 chats to the dollar at that time, right?
It was 6 cents to a dollar at that time, yes.
Which was not the real value. That was the official rate.
It was the rate determined by the World Bank. It was the rate of the World Bank, 6 cents to a dollar.
So that's quite a lot of money, Harry. That's quite a lot of money relative to your salary.
A lot of money. 7,000 judge is no joke, because I get only 450 judge salary a month.
Yeah, I know.
And then, 450 judge a month. And I have my old mother, my wife, 2 children, and a maid.
Very difficult.
Well, hard. And then around about 1975, I think, I changed it into a Japanese second-hand import, a Nissan, already about 100,000, I think, or I think it was 200,000 jats.
So they are right-hand drive cars, the ones from Japan.
Side. Yeah, the right-hand side.
So that leads to around that time. Was that when you switched sides of the road?
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. In 1975, the government switched the driving pattern. Previously, we were driving on the left, and the steering wheels were on the right. So it was okay. But our wise leaders, I don't know what is the reason, they decided to change the driving system into a right-hand drive. Well, what they told us was that it was to be in line with other countries of the world, blah, blah, blah. I do not know. But very strange that our nearest neighbor, Thailand, is still on the left. And the cars were importing, the second-hand cars were importing from Japan. They had steerings on the right. So when you drive on the right and the steering is on the right, you need somebody on the passenger seat on the left to see where the lane is clear for you to overtake. The only country in the world where you need a navigator to drive a car.
Even to this day, Harry, there are left-hand and right-hand drive cars.
Yeah. Because most of the cars that we import are from Japan, used cars from Japan. We cannot afford the the left-hand steerings cars from US or some other countries. It's so expensive. But the used cars from Japan are really inexpensive and affordable, and it makes a lot of profit, big margin of profit for the importers. So as I was telling you, I started this travel agency business, and our clients were always amazed why the guide would sit on the left in the front row, in the front passenger seat, and instruct the driver to overtake, to slow down. And then I was just riding yesterday to someone, a friend, that we had to, in those days when we started our tourism business, there were only 2 privately owned airlines in Myanmar. The government-run Myanmar Airways and private JV, a joint venture airline called Air Mandalay. And they had regular scheduled flights only to the major tourist destinations, Akan, Mandalay, Hpone, So mostly our itineraries were by car, by road. So our cars always carried this extra gas on top of the roofs or inside the boot. And when the tourists went back to their home country, they always complained to the travel agents that it's so dangerous to travel with this petrol cans on top of the car. And they were demanding compensation,
Oh, goodness.
insurance back. So we had to explain to these travel agents, our friends abroad, that this is the custom
Yeah.
in our country. Because a Rangoon registered car cannot fill up in the other towns. So it's a crazy, crazy world.
It was
It's a crazy, crazy world.
So, Harry, thank you very much for that very clear description of what it was like to own a car back in the 60s and 70s. And I look forward to talking to you again on one of your other pet subjects, like what it was like to go to the movies. So thank you very much for that, Harry. I look forward to talking again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter, for the opportunity.